What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos.
And me, Oni.
All right, let's see. Let me go over here just where I can see the chat. And of course, we probably need a few minutes for people to drop in. Oh, well, actually, we got Mr. Fish in the chat already. Happy Friday, my brother. Hey, good to see you, my man. Superfly checking in. Good evening, my brother. All right, guys. So we're doing a little paint chat tonight. You can see it's just me and Oni tonight. And yeah, first thing I'm going to start off doing is wishing our brother Freak well. Freak is out with an injury tonight. I don't know how to put this out there delicately, so I'm just going to say it. Freak is out with an injury due to complications from his Johnson augmentation surgery. Okay, apparently, when you add that much additional weight, doing the Odie, we need those tutorials. Apparently, when you add that much extra weight and size to your Johnson, doing the helicopter without expecting that additional weight, it really can lead to lower lumbar injuries. So,
I mean, I told him he needs to, do some practice runs to,
he went straight for the helicopter.
He said, "No." He said, "I got this, fam."
So, yep. Sounds like he needs Kegel. I mean, who couldn't do a few Kegel exercises? The old double black eyes from the swing back. The swing back is always a bitch. It's my fault. I'm working on those soon. Oh, Freak, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well.
See, I thought that it was him trying to chase me to put me back in the basement while I was greased up. A good thing it wasn't me.
That's my. I'm sorry. What, Mythos? You got to stretch before doing any helicoptering. That wasn't me. That was Freak helicoptering after the Johnson augmentation surgery, and now he's thrown his back out. So I got who took my dice chanting, "Free Oni, free Oni." Prayers for you and Mr. Johnson. Thoughts and prayers, baby. Thoughts and prayers. Oh. All right. Freak is on some strong stuff tonight. So if he says anything loopy, it'll be all for our entertainment. One yelled, "Spread them now," while I was on the pole. And that's how these injuries come about, kids. All right, so we're going to be doing some painting and chatting tonight. And, of course, you guys know I've been talking about guard. I will continue to talk about guard because more and more information keeps coming out. We're going to be showing off some Rough Riders next week because some pictures came out. Or not pictures. A whole article about the Rough Riders came out. I remember when we were playing 7th edition, I really, because I loved my Thunderwolf Cavalry, I wanted to get my brother Ethan and my brother Atlas some Rough Riders because they looked, I thought they looked amazing, and I love cavalry units, right? Everybody just kept talking about how awful Rough Riders were, and I'm just like, but they look so cool. You guys know looking cool doesn't always equate to being good in game, right? But yeah, so I'm actually excited that they're going to be out now, and they're actually going to be, well, I mean, hopefully they'll be viable, right? We haven't seen stats on the Rough Riders yet, but I mean, new shiny, right? It should be pretty good. Rough Riders, the condoms? No, the DMX song. Oh, no. It's the rough. Yeah, I'm going to have to sing that every time that I charge with my Rough Riders now.
And they're dead.
I'm liking having all the regiments being able to work together. Yeah, that is pretty cool. I used to get Rough Riders in the restroom at the bar for 50 cents. Wait, nope, different stream. My bad. No, that's the right stream. Rough Riders equal Death Riders. Death Riders were the Death Corps of Krieg specific Rough Riders, and they were better stat wise. So hopefully, I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe Krieg will get a chance to use a stratagem or something like that to upgrade their Rough Riders. I can't stop thinking about condoms now. I still remember the packaging for Rough Riders with the cowgirl on front. She was blonde, kind of curly hair, not super curly, just like frizzled. Anyways. Freak says, thanks for the love, guys. I would 100% kit bash instead of Rough Riders into Ghost Rider style dudes. Oh, that'd be cool. What's also cool is that there are a lot of conversions for Rough Riders out there. A lot of people who've done Rough Riders on Space Marine scout bikes. So that way the Imperial Guard could have Rough Riders of lots of GW news. Yeah, I'm going to wait till you come back before we cover all the big news. Right now, I'm just talking about the guard stuff tonight while I paint. In fact, what I'm painting tonight is... Boop. Boop. Nope.
That's okay. A hand.
How do I switch that? I want the painting to be the big picture. Drag to reorder. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Tonight I will be painting this Manticore. First I will zoom it away from the desk a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I'll be painting up this Manticore. Boop. And of course, I've made the biggest picture now the most out of focus thing. It was nice and perfectly zoomed in until I reordered the screen. But anyways, I'll drag this up and back a little bit. Ha ha ha! Ho ho ho! Hee. I've lost it a little bit, guys. Very nice. So right now, it doesn't look like much more than a rhino, right? But forgive the half primed missile here, but I had to stop to clean a clog in the airbrush. But yeah, that's how it's going to look once I get everything painted up. So yeah. So I started to prime the missiles with black, and then I eventually just decided to go on Vallejo German Panzer Gray for the body. 10 out of 10 tech. Hey, it's zoomed in correctly now. Okay. And actually, this setup here, 2 screens and a main painting camera, this is like this is like the most tech efficient I've done with the stream so far. So, when I set the bar low, everything else looks great by comparison.
Tell them what happened before you started the stream.
Oh my goodness. So I was playing Borderlands earlier, and I had my PlayStation controller plugged into the computer, the PlayStation controller has a built-in microphone, and the reason the stream is late is because I couldn't get the audio working for Melon app streaming here. And man, I was beating myself up trying to figure out why the sound wouldn't work. And Oni goes, is your Windows picking up your microphone? And I saw the microphone symbol going and in the corner, and I'm like, it says it's picking up the microphone. And then he had me go to the control panel and look up which microphone it was picking up, and it said wireless handheld controller. And I'm like, son of a bitch! All I had to do was unplug the controller, and it fixed all the sound settings. Looks good, my brother. Oh, thank you. Even the stream, I thank you. Your missiles are half primed. I'm sorry, Lily. Yes.
Ooh-wee. Mythos.
Ooh-wee. Mr. Poopy Butthole.
I'm loving this orc model.
Oni for the win. Yep. Oni had the big save there. So yeah, I've got this baby primed German Panzer Gray, and we're going to be doing, this is another of those 3D printed Etsy models. You guys know most of my Imperial Guard models are third party and printed, and this is a pretty good looking Manticore that I picked up.
You're pretty good looking.
Your face is good looking. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Those of you, my secret formula for the way I make my guard look, my Cadian green is actually none of the colors recommended for Cadians. I actually use these orc colors for my Cadian color scheme. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. That orc is scared now. And Oni has been seriously on the orc painting this October. I have not been as on top of painting this October. I don't know why, but man, I've just been taking a lot of lazy days off. I just have not been in the painting groove this October. I did, however, finish up this big ass orc from Dungeon Saga for D&D scale. It's supposed to be a troll. I went ahead and painted him up in orc colors anyways, because that's kind of how he's painted up on the box here. Boop. Of course, they've gone for the more realistic tone here in the artwork with the flesh tones around the knuckles and the mouth. But yeah, he's painted up like the rest of them. So I wanted to go with my trademark, a very vibrant, incredible Hulk green skin. But yeah, I did a whole bunch of rust effects with first it was the streaking grime, then dirty down rust effect, and then some of the orange has been brought out by a little bit of Ryza rust. But yeah, nice and weathered. So I've got that one finished, and he is mostly ready to go. I've got these two brothers that just need the oil washes and the weathering effects. But two works with great axes for D&D scale. Not quite as far along. It's funny because these orcs have really just been I've been doing them during meetings, and then this guy's about half done before the oil washes. I've got the whites down for the contrast to go over, and I just plan on putting some gore grunter fur on the bow for the wood, and some snakebite leather on the gloves, the belt, the pouches, and the quiver here. And so once I get those colors down, this one will also be ready for oils and weathering. Not so much weathering on this one because there's very little metal here, so it'll mostly be the oil washes and the streak and grind. So those are the two Great Axe orcs are about 85% done, and not too far behind with the bow guy. And then the 3 goblins to go with them, they are still kind of close to the beginning stages. But I really like this one here because he's got like a little Roman helmet kind of thing here going on with the visor and the plume. He's got a dagger, wielding it as a sword, and he's got like a little scrap shield, and he's got some like tiny centurion style armor plating. So I did the metallics on these guys. This one's got a spear. And you know what? At first, I was like not thrilled that so this is like Reaper Bone style PVC. And I was not thrilled because PVC is a little harder to, even using the hot water technique, is a little harder to bend and get to stay straight than say something like resin is. Because usually PVC will, even if you do the hot water trick, it'll bend back into place, right? And I was a little disappointed at first, but thinking about it, whereas a craftsman would probably make a really straight. Did you say Roman helmet? Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of the Roman style, with the metal cap shape there and the plume. Like a tiny, tiny centurion. But anyways, I think a craftsman would focus on making a really straight spear. But I can imagine, a random goblin would probably just pick up the nearest branch and stick a spearhead on it and call it job done. So I actually don't mind his spear being all crooked. He's also got a scrap shield. And he's mostly just wearing a tunic with a couple tiny pieces of armor on his thighs. Hey, everyone, look up a Roman helmet prison. Man, you with all your prison sex positions. Oh, man. And then here we actually have a shirtless goblin just wearing, really, he looks like he's just wearing a loincloth and a quiver and a little bit of fur about the shoulders. So, yeah, these guys are really just, I've got skin tones and metallics done, and their tunics done. But, yeah, so these guys are like 30% completed. But like I said, I've really been lacking motivation in the last week or so. No, the last couple weeks. And I feel like this is Orktober. I really should be like amped on the motivation. But my motivation's been lacking too. Sounds like we need to strike up our midweek painting session. I was just telling Lily that Thursday because I had an alarm go off at 4:50, and Lily asked me, "What's that alarm for?" And I said, "Oh, that's usually for when I'm painting with Superfly." And she's like, "Oh, you haven't done that in a while." I'm like, "Yeah, we haven't." And so I think, we need to pick that back up.
I'm never demotivated. I'm painting every day.
I wish. I've never been good at just pushing through if I'm not feeling it. And so, motivation, I needs it too. What's up, Brother Atlas? Things that are motivating. I had a great game with Brother Atlas Sunday after our last show, which I was worried. He seemed so demotivated after at the end of last week's show. I was like, oh man, is he even going to want to game this weekend? And then we ended up gaming on Sunday, and now I haven't really been able to beat his Imperial Guard for a while. Ever since the buffs to Lehman Russ's and the buffs to Armor of Contempt, and most notable, the buffs with Hammer of the Emperor. Ever since then, I've really struggled to beat his Imperial Guard. Usually, having things that are toughness 5 or higher, used to be a bit of protection against his Imperial Guard. And the amount of damage he puts out now is like really difficult to deal with. And so because I've been struggling with that, he wanted to bring a list that was more fun, a little more fluffy and fun. And so he bought a mechanized infantry list with lots of infantry and lots of transports, and only one basilisk, and like no Lehman Russes, no tanks. So just one artillery, the basilisk, and all mechanized infantry. And actually, it was a really close game, 59-64. It was a 5-point game. It was pretty awesome, though. Gazgul, man, Gazgul made it till the last turn with 1 wound. I maxed out the special orc secondary called the Biggest and the Best, where your warlord gets points for killing more than 5 models, killing characters, and killing vehicles. And let me tell you, the game-changing. I really wish I'd made time to make this a battle report, because it was so crazy how intense that last turn was. Yeah, it is really rare for the last turn to make the big difference in 9th edition, and it really was like a palpable feeling. But he had like 2 big squads and like 1 lone scion, and Sergeant Harker and the priest. One of the battle priests all charge Gazgul, who this is like round 5, last turn, he had Slay the Warlord as one of his objectives. So like a whopping 5 or 6 points riding on this, right? Have a great night with the fam, Superfly, and I'll send you. Oh, it was Strachan, not Harker. It was Strachan. Yeah, I'll send you a link whenever it's time, brother. Have a good time with the fam. So yeah, Slay the Warlord. He surrounded Gazgul like super close, like 2 inches away, rapid fired everything into Gazgul, and brought him down to 1 wound. And so he charged with everything, hoping to tick off that 1 wound. And Gaz, that turn, made every 2-up save. Now, granted, it's a 2-up, but still, it was like a lot of it was a lot of volume of attacks coming in. Like I said, 2 full infantry squads, extra scion, and two special characters, one of which would have been very thematic with Iron Hand Strachan. Just nothing made it through the armor. In Gaz's combat turn, he took out the priest that attacked, and 5 soldiers. I think it was 6 soldiers, but yeah, he got the 5. So he got secondary points for killing more than 5 models, and secondary points for killing a character. And so where it winning that combat prevented Atlas from scoring 6 points and earned me an additional 5 points. So that 5 points at the end of the game all came down to that last attack phase, the very last roll of the dice. It was crazy. I love those moments. You either have an epic moment or fail horribly. Yeah, it was so intense. Atlas had brought over very generously a whole bunch of chips and dip. He always brings something whenever he comes over to hang out, and he's a fantastic guest. And he brought some chips and dip for everyone to snack on. He's like, y'all barely ate tonight. And I'm going to be like, man, I'm going to be real honest with you. This game was so intense that I barely looked up from the game to go snack and eat. Like I didn't really think about it. I was just focused on the game. Last bit of hobby news for me. Well, hobby wise. Yesterday was my 15-year anniversary. My lovely lady's been putting up with me for 15 years, and that's just as my wife. I'm surprised I'm still alive. But she hooked me up with more Squig Hog boys for her anniversary. And when she handed it to me, she said, "Well, I know it's October, so here you go, hon." And I was like, "What?" I was just telling Freak the other day that, you know what? The biggest thing with Squig Hog boys is that I love how much damage they can do, but they very seldom get to ever do the damage because they're usually wiped down to just like one guy. They're usually down to one guy by the time they get into combat with anything. I think having a squad of 6 of these bad boys charging up the field, that's going to be a huge help, and that's really going to help, add to the amount of damage they can put out. So my babe is awesome. She knows cavalry's like one of my favorite things ever. Game-wise, I beat Borderlands 2 this year, so, it only took me, 15 years, but I finally beat the trilogy now. And I started on the pre-sequel this week. What about you, Brother Oni? What you got for a poke chat?
Started painting the Orc Squad for October.
The Commandos.
Yep. And so you deferred on getting them after I was done painting them because I'm not going to keep them.
I did. I know Freak is starting up a new orc army, and I figure some Commandos would be a welcome addition to his new orc army.
Yeah. So I worked on the skin. I just finished the test model that I was working on Tuesday for our hobby night. Love it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Love it. But yeah, I'll send you a picture. Oh, you know what?
Good.
I'm not going to send you a picture because that's because you challenged me to it.
No, you challenged me.
I did?
What are you talking about? Yes.
No, you can't. I remember it differently. You challenged me. I remember it differently.
I really should start on my October project. I might put down some skin tones on this bad boy by the. Although it would actually probably be more beneficial to do the skin tone. Oh, here's the model I'm looking at. This is the Kill Boss. He's going to be my second boss on Squigosaur if I ever want to run dual Squigosaurs. Because he's draped in a lot of cloth and mostly cloth and some scrap bits of armor. There's actually very little skin showing for an orc here. So I think it would actually be more beneficial to do the skin tones of the beast here. This Squigosaur, instead of using the airbrush to airbrush the actual orc skin. Holy crap. I just realized this is a detail I never noticed before. It's all black, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see black on black detail. Probably be better once I paint it up. But I never noticed this flag here was made of human skin, and it ends in a hand at the bottom of this flag here. Dude, literally flopping around on a banner behind him. Yeah, those who don't know, the reason why Freak isn't joining us tonight is he is out on injury tonight. As we discussed earlier, he has a severe lower back injury, pulling a muscle in his lower back from post-Johnson augmentation surgery. Now, those of you who don't know, carrying the extra weight at the front of his body, especially so low to the ground, is a large strain on his lower back muscles. Especially when he does, I don't mean it's tough love, I got to say it, especially when you do, ridiculous things like going straight for a helicopter with this new weight. So, you got to learn to lift. You got to learn to lift slow, right? You can't just go straight.
Like when you're lifting heavy objects, you got to use your legs, not your back.
Yep, it went terribly wrong. But now we know. Now we know.
Or else it's going to get back injuries,
Oh my God. That just sounds so painful. Got caught on his screw sticking out of the dance pole. Oh. Oh no. All that, I'm back to my normal.
All that money just wasted. All you had to do was just wait. Now you're back to an inch. Yeah. Anyways,
excuse my reach. Okay.
I also started went back and worked on my my Leagues of Baton models as well.
Very nice.
I put the base coat down on the armor, so it's all 10 regular infantry people and the 3 what are they called, the pioneers.
The pioneers are the bikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got the base coat down and just ready for everything else.
Very nice.
And also, I found some 3D printable files for Kingdom Death, a box organizer. So that'll
yeah.
come real handy for me for whenever we play our games.
Probably make it a lot easier to transport everything too. Good night and all. Have a very early morning. Rest up well, Steve, my brother.
Yeah, so I was looking at the pictures, like the thumbnails that they usually put on Thingiverse. And yeah, it does make it easier to transport everything. And it also makes it easier to find what you're looking for. Because I know whenever we were playing, I fumbled trying to find the cards that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So with this...
Does this organizer work with your sleeves?
Yeah.
I've had organizers before that worked until you put sleeves on the cards. It's just
so the guy who made the files, he made it specifically for sleeved cards.
Nice.
He put it out like the very first sentence on the Thingiverse page. It says for sleeved cards only.
Nice.
And I printed a test of one of the files last night, so it finished this morning, and I like it. This is what it looks like.
Sweet. He's very, very nice.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you guys?
Right now I'm printing out the token holder one.
Very, very nice. Freak says, "Oh wow." Apparently, he likes it too.
Yep. And I also found a box organizer for zombie side. So.
Which I'm pumped about that.
Yep.
Oh, check this out, guys. Atlas and I made a trade this weekend while he was here. Oh, hey, I need to put an arm on this guy. But yeah, so this guy here, or the Atlas and I made a trade. And so all of my infantry so far are these Dreamforge Imperial Guard models. And I love how the Dreamforge soldiers, I actually have 60 of these guys because that's what I wanted for my infantry. I wanted them because they have a very Halo UNSC Marine look. And yeah, so I really like that a lot. So all my infantry are these guys. And when Dreamforge was around as its own studio, used to make these heavy weapons teams. They no longer make these. In fact, Dreamforge have sold the rights to whatever kits they still sell through War Games Atlantic now, and then they still make the infantry kit, but they never brought back the heavy weapon squads. And so Atlas, when they were going out of business, bought up a whole bunch of these, and so I traded him for 9 heavy weapons teams, and he actually gave me a massive stack of just stacks of sprues to make more, so I could have like one common Cadian strategy now is something called a mortar pit, and that's when you take aim with Cadians and you put reroll. Take aim gives you Cadians give you reroll 1s if you didn't move, and take aim also gives you that, but if you're Cadian and you use take aim, you get to re-roll everything. And so people would launch a bunch of these indirect fire mortars, 9 of them, each of them shooting I think like a d6 worth of shots, so 9 times d6, and re-rolling all hits, hitting on 4s but re-rolling everything.
Get out of here.
And I mean they're only strength 4 and no AP. But indirect fire and the ability to hit a lot of times, they seem pretty cool. Anyways, I wanted some heavy weapons. He's got some autocannon ones here that are super pimp. I really like these Dreamforge autocannons because it looks like a Barrett 50 cal. And I wanted them because they matched the look of the rest of my Dreamforge models. And I know he really liked these. I didn't know if he was going to be willing to trade. So I was like, if you just want to trade me a few, we can work out some kind of exchange. He's like, oh, all those are also now auto wounding on 6s. That's right. So the strength 4 doesn't even matter, baby. But yeah, I knew. So I was like, if you let me have a couple so that way I can match the look of my infantry, that would be great. He's like, you can have all of them, brother. And he brought me all 9 and all the bits to make more, so I could have a full 9 unit mortar pit if I wanted to. I'm like, hell yes! And all he asked for is one of the kill team sets for the new Renegade Guard, so he can take the Renegade Guard officer and use them for conversions for making his veteran teams. So even though he got these on clearance, I'm quite sure I got the better end of the deal. So I'm gonna have to do something to sweeten the pot a little bit because he was so good to me.
Gonna bring out the knee pads?
Yeah. What's the mint spray? Banaka?
Minty fresh.
Minty fresh. So, brother, thank you so much for the hookup.
I am really, really, really getting stoked about my guard army. It's funny, I haven't even started on the infantry yet, but I've got like 1,000 points of tanks painted up. I did say I was going a mostly tank heavy army. We were prepping for the show earlier tonight, and I sent my notes on some of the leaks I wanted to talk about, which we'll get to in just a second. And Oni goes, "Oh, guard again." Although this is like the norm for us whenever something new is coming out, because they like to tease the build up and release too. Oh, I've got all this camera set up, and I'm painting off camera. There you go. But yeah, so some of the leaks that came out this week, again, courtesy of Morty and Glory over on YouTube. Go check them out. Like I've said before, I have membership subs to both Auspex and Morty and Glory. I really like what they do. They are some of the best news sources to me in this game, especially for like Morty and Glory specifically for Guard. Auspex, of course, covers all kinds of Warhammer news. And I really like what they do. And great news sources. And of course, this is from the insiders Morty and Glory has. And I mean, so far, a lot of it is so accurate. So we'll see where it goes. But that's the thing with leaks. Whenever I talk about leaks, guys, grain of salt. His sources, as we discussed before, are usually multiple sources that have similar stories, and he usually cross-references these against each other to make sure that it's most likely that he's got some accurate information here. But again, these are leaks, not news, so take it with a grain of salt. But this week it's data sheets. Last week, I was mentioning how we don't have any data sheet leaks. We just have rules, and there were questions. What about this? What about this? But now we have some of those answers in the stats. So the first thing we're going to talk about.
Just happened.
I don't know what just happened there.
Hello?
Did we crash? I think we crashed. It's freaking out, gents. Okay. Are we back? Things look okay now? Was that somebody shutting us down because they don't want us to leak their information? Are we being silenced by the man?
I didn't say anything. That was all you. I'm just over here playing like a fool.
He's like, if y'all are sending out hitmen, I didn't say shit.
It's him you're looking for, not me. Man, I said.
Man would throw his brother under the bus.
Hey, if there's a slight chance of getting sponsored by GW in the near future, bet your sweet cheeks.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, Peachy's retired now, so that's Duncan gone. That's Peachy gone. That's possible.
No, I don't want to work. I don't want to do tutorials for them. I just want to get free stuff from them.
You don't think it'd be even better to be the inside man?
Nah. I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut. 2 minutes into the job, yep, you're fired. It's like, but I didn't even say anything.
Freak says, back to the basement you go. Thomas says, hey, Oni isn't wrong. Ooh, getting to the bottom of this cup. It's getting a little bit thicker, so we're going to add a couple more drops of flow improver and give her another mixy. Do a little bit of the backflow. Man, since we glitched out, seems to be like a little bit of a crackle in our audio. How does it sound to the chat? All right, so the Lehman Russ stats. Movement 10. Weapon skill is 6+, but the ballistic skill is 4+. So that much is normal. Strength 7, toughness 8, 13 wounds, 5 attacks, 2+ save, and 13. We gain 1 wound to go to 13 wounds. Lehman Russes now have a keyword called the turret weapon keyword or turret weapon rule, which means turret weapons get +1 to hit, which means now those cannons will be hitting on 3s, which I am super hyped about. You know, the shooting on 4s for guard, you know, is what always gave them a little bit of a not so reliableness. You know, if you think about it, that means you're only hitting 50% of your shots. Wait, a little bit worse than 50%, right? 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 50%. A little crackly, but manageable. What's up, Darklight? Yeah, ever since it glitched out, it's just like there's a crackly kind of quality. I don't know what that is. Darklight, my brother. Good to see you, man. Man, I put up a picture of us hanging out and painting together on from Sunday before last, Darklight. Lots of love for you on Facebook for it.
Oh, Raz, do I have something to tell you? So Saturday, I went over to Freaks, and I took Kingdom Death. We played a game, and since Freak's character Jojo died, we decided to take your character. Don't worry, he didn't die. He got some experience. But during the hunt phase, he rolled a 1 on the event table for it, and your character is now a boulder lover. And the boulder is stuck in his inventory. It's taking up 1 spot until it is discarded by another event.
Because I'm a boulder lover, you're a boulder lover. We should love each other's boulder, love each other's rock.
And yeah. And you can't use that boulder as a weapon. So I told Freak, look on the bright side. At least he didn't die. Could have been worse.
But yeah, not only did you get some love on the picture of you painting, the owner of Ghost Brushes said, "Hey, is that man painting with a ghost brush?" And I was like, "Of course." And so you got some love for that. You are now a recognized face painting with ghost brushes. Ding. Sponsored by Ghost Brush. Not actually sponsored by Ghost Brush. Don't let me lie to you. I'm just joking. I'm just joking, guys. See, sellout, I tell you. I said joking. Freak leaves the show for a stream. I sell out to a brand right away. I couldn't do it fast enough. All seriousness, though, not sponsored, but we love our ghost brushes. We, as in Freak and I. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about Lehman Russ tanks getting that ballistic skill 3. That's gonna be awesome. So one thing though is they get the rule for turret weapons getting +1 to hit, but something I was thinking. Oh, sorry. You have frozen twice now. I'm not sure if it's my internet or the stream. Well, the first time it was definitely us because it reset and kicked us both out of the chat room for a second. And if it was us once, I'm willing to bet it was us both times. Darklight says, but like Ghost Brush, if you're looking to sponsor a boy, you right.
I might have messed up.
So I tried something a little different here, which
Painting?
painting wise, yes.
Okay.
Um,
I'm all ears.
so all my tanks so far have had these greens done up with starting from a black base coat.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to try the German Panzer Gray this time, a more neutral tone,
As the base coat?
as the primer color, just to see if the green would pop anymore, add a little vibrancy to the final product. It's definitely looking vibrant. In fact, this Orc green is looking almost Army Man green.
Okay.
I just hope the final product is not too different from the rest of my tanks, though.
So what's really what it's really gonna depend is the highlight colors. What's gonna That's what it's
We
really
shall
gonna come
see.
down to.
And while I have this out, man, I was going to prime up some of these heavy weapons teams while I had the colors out. But I need to find an arm for this one dude now. Or I could start painting him and just unlock the, not unlock, paint up the arm separately. Might do that. Get my melts again, guys. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4.
See, at least you're branching out with your base colors.
Oh yeah. Now, that is something I do try and mix up once in a while because, like, I have certain projects I start with white, certain ones I start with black, certain ones I start with zenithal. And the reason I have the gray is so that way I can do the transition from black to gray to white,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is my first project, maybe ever, just starting with just the gray and not using the gray as a mid grade.
Yeah, I started everything with a black. It was a black primer.
I'm starting a Madhouse mode playthrough of Resident Evil 7, try to unlock infinite ammo. God's help me. I miss when you could just buy that stuff on the store. Oh, again, got this nice zoomed in camera, painting off camera. But yes, so one thing I found that is an interesting difference starting from the neutral gray is that this color feels less like my usual use of it, the orc skin, and feels more like an actual olive drab. Which is pretty cool. Haha. Strangely, you can for every Resident Evil except 7 and 8, right? You can't do it in 8 either, I believe. unless I'm wrong. Because if I'm wrong, that'd be great news. You sure can buy it in 8, Billy Bobby. Really?
You excited for the Resident Evil 4 remake?
Hell yes. 4 was always my favorite one. But recently, last year, I bought it on the PlayStation Store and tried to go back and play it. And I've evolved too far now. I am incapable of going back to the tank controls. And so I just got frustrated with death by camera angle and just stopped playing it.
Yeah, you've just been spoiled with the new, new games.
Exactly. Because I did, I did because I did since I played on PS4 already. Ah, you also played with the bot weapons. Is that something I can buy on just the PlayStation Store? Is that like a DLC or something I can just buy? But yeah, so 4 was always my favorite, and being able to go back with modern controls and play it, in addition to the new graphics and whatnot for the trailer, look amazing. I'm really, really hyped for it. Also, in addition to the Resident Evil games, they put out trailers this week for
Hill.
a new Silent Hill game, Silent Hill F, super hype. And they announced that probably I bought it on Steam. Okay, I'll check it out. Yes, the gameplay also looks incredible for Resident Evil 4 Remake. So Silent Hill F looks amazing, but also the people who did Layers of Fear, Blooper Team, they picked up the rights to do the remake for Resident Hill. Not Resident Hill, Silent Hill 2 remake. So Pyramid Head in high definition, baby.
Okay.
So that is something else I'm hyped for. So yeah, lots of good horror stuff announced this month. So my wife and I started watching horror movies together last year as a new tradition we're building for Halloween. And it was one of those that we put it off for a lot of years because kiddos and whatnot. But we're going back and watching some of the old slashers now. And last year we started with the Halloween series, classic. Dude, the very beginning of the game is kicking my ass. I bet. So what is this mode you're doing to unlock infinite ammo and stuff like that in God mode? Is it like playing on nightmare mode or something? But yeah, we last year we got through 1 through 4. This year we started with Resident Evil 5, not Resident Evil, Halloween 5, and there's already an expectation of cheese with Halloween. The Myers movies are fun, but they're cheesy. it's just it's like watching Super Mario Brothers. You got to know what acceptable level of cheese you're dealing with here. And even for the Halloween series, man, 5 was over the cheese threshold, and it was just bad. And it wasn't even like cheesy in the way that slasher movies are typically cheesy. Like, it actually, and this is what made it a bad movie, but it actually had less gore and less, gratuity and all that good stuff. And it's just like, but also like everything just made sense less. Which, like I said, again, going back to the fact that you're dealing with a cheesy movie, is saying a lot.
It's not Friday the 13th cheese.
Yeah.
That's a whole other level.
But apparently, at some point, it gets back on the rails. So we're going to try 6 soon and see if it gets any better from there. What did I do with my mixing stick? There it is. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I was talking about the Lehman Russ. So we talked about the turret weapons and how Lehman Russes or anything. Yeah. Resources are more scarce, and it's nightmare mode. But more than that, stuff is moved around. Enemy behavior is different. You need cassette tapes to manually save the game. Bosses are way tougher. Oh man, we were just talking about that watching Andy from Outside Xbox play the Resident Evil 1 HD the HD upgrade for Resident Evil 1. How it's like, oh man, that's right. Back then you had to use ink ribbons, which were a limited resource to save. Man, I save like 3 times without thinking. Sometimes I'll finish saving and go back and resave just to be sure. Like having saves as a limited resource is just crazy. And the thing is I remember, Raz and I getting through Resident Evil 1, but it's one of those things I think I just blocked out of my memory is, expendable saves. Okay, so another thing about the Lehman Russ, it can take an upgrade called Armored Tracks, which is you get an extra +1 save versus damage 1 weapons. So helps with small arms fire, I guess. But what usually takes down things like a Lehman Russ? Usually it's going to be things like las cannons, missile launchers, the missile salvos from a Virtus Praetor. It's going to be your big anti-tank weapons. It's not typically going to be damage 1 weapons that takes out Lehman Russ. So I don't know if Armored Tracks is going to be a worthwhile upgrade, but if you're having a problem, say, with an opponent who's going to bring, I don't know, 300 las guns to take out your Lehman Russes, that could be a thing. The new battle cannon. Okay, so another thing. So it's good that we got turret weapons. So these tanks are all hitting on a 3+ with their cannons now. Now here's a side grade, or actually, I think it's a downgrade. But I think when you balance it out with the fact that you're hitting on 3s now, I think it's still a net plus. So the battle cannon no longer, or none of these weapons no longer have grinding advance, which means you don't get to shoot twice if you didn't move or moved half movement. That's been replaced by building extra shots into the profile. the battle now, instead of having, was it heavy 2d6? It's now heavy d6 plus 3. So with that plus 3, you no longer have the ability to potentially roll 12, but at the same time, that 3 is consistent. So I think it works out to more consistency, and it's more hits baked in, I think. It's strength 8, AP 2, damage 3, nice flat 3. Demolisher cannon, which is what 4 out of my 5 Lehman Russes. No, 3 out of my 4 Lehman Russes are Demolisher variants. They are heavy D6, strength 10, which is awesome. AP minus 3, damage D3 plus 3. No longer a random D6. That's awesome. So I'm definitely getting a boost there.
Say D3 plus 6?
D3 plus 3.
Oh.
It used to be D6. Now it's D3 plus 3. So now you're getting... Because I've talked about this all the time with like a last cannon or something. You roll 1 on damage, on a D6 damage. It feels bad. So now Demolisher is always going to get minimum 4 damage. So I think the Demolisher has gotten a lot better with that. The Punisher Gatling Cannon is 20 shots. Now that is a flat 20. It used to be 20, but with grinding advance, it would have been 40 shots. So now it's just 20 shots, which is still good. Strength 6, AP minus 1, damage 1. Eradicator Nova Cannon is a heavy D6 plus 3. A lot like the Battle Cannon. But it's a strength 6, AP minus 2, damage 2. Now, the Exterminator, the Overcharged Plasma is likely heavy D6 plus 3. Strength 8, AP minus 4, damage 3. Ones always do mortal wounds. So I like that it's got the overcharge profile. Having that damage 3 is nice. I think that before having to overcharge a tank to take mortal wounds on a damage 2 weapon wasn't very good. I think this is more of a reason to overcharge. The Exterminator Autocannon, I never think it's a great idea to take an autocannon on a big, heavy weapons platform like a tank. But on a heavy weapons team, great. But using a tank for an autocannon, I think is a waste. So strength 8, AP minus 2, damage 2. Heavy 6, so you're getting a decent amount of shots there. But here's one of the biggest buffs. Okay. The Vanquisher autocannon was considered one of the rarest, most relic and revered cannons in the Imperial Guard armory lore-wise. It's not been that very good on the table for quite a long time. You're making me want to focus on Guard when I want World Eaters Mythos. Do it! Paint some Guard! Yatta! I beat up my wife! Yay! Says Darklight Dreamer talking about Mia in Resident Evil 7. Nobody clipped that. Because she was like possessed and trying to kill me with a chainsaw. Right.
Tomorrow morning. I beat up my wife.
Oh, man. So the Vanquisher cannon, it is like, if you guys ever see a Lehman Russ tank or Imperial Guard tank that's got like a super long barreled cannon on it that looks like an overcompensator cannon, that is your Vanquisher cannon. And like I said, it's considered to be like an extremely rare and precious cannon in the Imperial Guard lore. But on tabletop, it's been rather underwhelming for so many editions. Now, it's a badass now. The Vanquisher cannon. APB out for Mythos Kashernada. And somehow they still show up at Freak's house and tase him.
Like, we heard you were harboring him. Like, but he's on a live stream. How could I be harboring him?
You know where he is. He's on a live stream. Stop resisting, sir. I'm not resisting.
I'm actually trying to help you.
All right, so this Vanquisher Cannon's revamp now is Heavy 1. This whole damn tank gets one shot. Just one. But it's Strength 14. AP -4. Damage D3 plus 6. A whopping 9 damage potential. Minimum 4 damage. I mean, minimum 7 damage, I mean. Ignores invul saves. It's pretty awesome. Potential 9 damage ignoring invul saves. What we're going to do is we're going to get 3 of these suckers, and they're just going to aim at the Virtus Praetors.
Joke's on you, because you'll be fighting the league.
Freak mentioning about the cop showing up to taste him. He says, they always aim for my ball. Every time. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the new Lehman Russ stats, and I think the Vanquisher has been so pimp in the lore, but so underwhelming on the tabletop for so long. This reboot is amazing. However, I am a little concerned because, so as a guard player, I love this, but like for the game overall, it just seems like we're seeing more and more things that ignore invul saves in game. And I'm not sure that's great for the game overall, because it's just like, why have the invul save, you know? I mean, when your entire army is invul save 4+, and you know, they have to pick and choose what they use it on in your army, like Custodes. I'm sure it's not as big of a deal. But yeah, like for the rest of the game, just the ability to straight up ignore invul saves is kind of a weird thing. So as a guard player, or an up and coming guard player, I love it. As a fan of the game, I'm a little wary.
See, that really doesn't bother me. What really bothers me is the freaking armor of contempt that everybody's getting.
Oh my goodness. I just don't I mean, I understand from I understand from a like lore perspective, or you know, or maybe a FOMO kind of perspective, you know, the desire to have it, but like its purpose is to beef up armies that aren't durable enough, and the Custodes are already like the most durable. Like seriously, on average, you lose like 2 models a game.
Which, I mean, I get that it's trying to make other armies a little bit more viable, but Custodes are supposed to be like freaking elite.
And they are. That's why you only lose 2 models a game. That's what I'm saying. I think their badassery is already built in.
It's just, and then my wound characteristic, like to wound, like the damage output. Everybody's getting a -1 in damage. So I'm like, all right. Can I get one of those?
Like what Gaz does? What like Gaz does? Invul like Gaz does? I don't understand. Like what Gaz does what?
Freak, I'm about to jump on this stream.
Well, yeah. Hey, you got the link, and I'm sure if you jump on all medicated, I'm sure people will be entertained.
No, you stay out there. You don't need to be on here.
Are you not entertained? Yeah, man. You come on all hopped up. You got the link. So that is the Lehman Russ. Next, I have some other gun profiles. So here, las guns are going to be reportedly unchanged at base. Everybody was thinking. So yeah, gas has a 4-up invul. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I was talking about like with gas is a great example because typically gas is the only big armor save I have. He's got 4+. But
doesn't he only get the invuln with Makari?
No, that's a feel no pain.
Oh, okay.
But the Gaz gives when you call Gaz and all the war bosses when they call a Wah, they give a 5-up invul army wide. And I think that's what he's mentioning. And yeah, the army wide 5-up invul was definitely a frustrating mechanic for Freak to deal with during our last game. So I get what he's saying now. It definitely felt like a lot of his AP was pointless because for a couple of turns I got some decent invul saves. So a lot of people were talking about how some of the new rules we talked about last week would work with las guns, and everybody was saying that we will have to see when the new gun profile comes out for the las guns. Turns out it says they're reportedly unchanged at base. So I think they're still going to be rapid fire 1, but then they'll go to heavy weapons when you use the other abilities. The multi-lasers changed. Reportedly, it's now heavy 4, 36 inches, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. And now my favorite of the new guns we're going to talk about are the field ordnance batteries. These are the new trailer-looking things with heavy weapons on them that have been announced with all these new guard stuff, and they're pretty interesting. One is they're teased that they'll all get 48-inch range, which is pretty good. The Bombast field gun, which I think is the one that looks like a miniature basilisk, will reportedly ignore a line of sight, which is interesting because it's pointing straight forward like a las cannon in the pictures. But apparently it's like a small basilisk that's going to ignore line of sight. There's also apparently the thing with the rocket launcher doesn't have any stats yet, but it is pointed up in the air. So some people are wondering if that's going to have a mechanic to ignore cover or ignore line of sight as well. And the heavy weapon that's been most hey, let me.
Did you really hop on?
Sounds like it.
Oh God.
I'm gonna hide.
God.
I'm gonna hide my painting camera. There we go. What up, baby? Uh-oh. I don't know if you can hear us.
Hello? Hello?
Elster Nation. Good morning, my brother.
There we are.
Hey, it's a Freakoliscioius.
Yeah.
Hey man, you need to stay
so
in bed.
this is kind of like the equivalency of somebody who naturally has a 12-inch Johnson. No worries there. But then, the farmer says, you know what? We want everybody to have a little bit of something down there. So we're going to make a special little pill that will increase you by an additional 1 inch. I get excited, like, all right, finally, I'll get an inch. That's all I get. Total. Yeah. But then Oni says, hey, where's our extra inch?
I mean, well, if that's the case.
Really?
If that's the case,
Really?
Can I have a reduction?
Really? Really? You got a beef bus. A beef bus, bro.
It's true.
And you want an extra inch. Really? Help me with that logic. No, I wait. I'm hurting like a bitch. And I'm drugged up. I want to hear this one. Go on.
Hey,
floor is yours.
That means I'll have an extra leg.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. No, I just jumped on to give you grief. Seriously, man. How often do you lose?
It hasn't yet.
Not yet.
Bloody
it's
hell.
Bound to happen. It's bound to happen.
Oh, well, we're waiting for the future to happen or what?
Hey,
heaven forbid we never even come close.
Freaky boy.
Ah, dang it. I'm only here for a little bit, man. I'm on so much meds. Why is my computer freaking out? Because I'm doing an update. Oh, God.
Those of you who are just now joining us, Freak has been out most of the night. He's highly medicated right now because he threw out his back with Johnson augmentation surgery.
It's true.
And he's only on right now just to rain on my parade before he throws me.
Look, I mean, it's your fault that I'm hurting.
You know what?
I was on the pole just fine, and then you said spread them, and so I thought, okay, I'll try it. I'll try anything once. And when I did, snag that sucker right off.
How do you know it was me?
Because you were looking at me. We were making eye contact. Steve, eye contact. You were doing this.
You do it, I do it.
Anyway, guys, it's good to see everyone. I'm sorry, I'm definitely out of sorts. I even have some dribble. I can't even drink water right now.
Darklight says he shall now be known as Cyber Johnson.
Oh, I want augmentation now.
Upside down splits on the pole again. Well, he got the Johnson augmentation surgery, and dealing with the new amount of weight, he didn't even think about it. You're supposed to start out and work your way up to new weights. You went straight for the helicopter.
You ever wrapped like a rope around a pole? You know when you're swinging real hard, it goes and wraps around it. That's kind of what happened. Yeah, it stayed on the pole.
Oh, God.
So I threw out my back, and I'm back down to an inch. So
all that expensive surgery for nothing.
For nothing. Thanks, Oni.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Very well. That's what I'm here for.
No, I've threw out my back. The weird thing is, it was a gradual injury. It was an injury, but it just progressed very slowly until it was just so unbearable. Yesterday, I had to have my wife help me out the car. Today, I went to urgent care, and she literally had to buckle me because I couldn't even make the movement to buckle myself. So right now, when I got home, got on meds. My daughter, who's a massage therapist, gave me a therapeutic massage. I took the medication that my doctor prescribed, and it's manageable. Still hurts like hell, but definitely manageable. And there's no filter here. That's why I can't stay on. When I'm on that stuff right there, there's zero filter, and I'm liable to say things that I will regret for a very long time. So anyway, love you guys. Good seeing you guys, man. I wish I could be a part of this.
Good seeing you, brother.
Yeah, good show, by the way. You guys are doing awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, and Dark Light, man, I'm telling you, every time I see you pick up a brush and you paint, it warms my heart, man. It really does. I've told Mythos that so many times, and I'm gonna get gushy because I have no filter. So there you go. But yeah, every time I see you pick up a brush, dude, it just does something to me, man. So Screw anybody that says anything. Screw them, man. Screw those guys. Screw the past. You are an amazing dude, and you paint whatever, whenever you want, and you do it with all your heart, man. I guarantee you that stuff will come out banging, no matter what anybody says. So, and I've already seen your last bit, man. Your last piece that you did, and it's just great. It's fantastic. So, man, much love, man. For real, and respect. So anyway, I'm gonna get my crack ass off of this, and so keep it up, guys. Y'all have a good night. I'll be
Thank you,
watching.
brother. You rest
Yeah,
well, man.
man.
Take care.
Good to see the Freakoliscioius. I'm definitely doing more next time Mythos and I hang out. Heck yeah. Also, if you ever want to come on not that I'm trying to pressure you, but if you ever want to hop on the show, whether to just chat about painting or if you ever want to paint with us during one of these paint and chats, man, you're always welcome here. Because we're like Olive Garden. When you hear, your family.
Oh, I thought that had something to do with breadsticks.
When you hear, you get breadsticks.
I do love me some Olive Garden breadsticks. Aren't they unlimited?
Yeah.
As many as you want. Oh man, your boy's gonna go to Olive Garden tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get permission from old Papa Freak though, so I can get out of the basement first.
All right. This is probably the part that will take the longest to dry. But we just use the airbrush to put down a little military shader. There will be some pooling because I did it with the airbrush, but it's not going to be a big deal because where it's pooling, I'm going to go right back in with the airbrush and bring up those highlights. So, but it is going to get in all these cracks.
Yeah, it is.
And I mixed it with a little bit of gloss so that way you guys can see it right there already popping out them details, already getting all up in the crack. Yeah. Oh, thank you, brother. What a coincidence. I made Zupa. Ah, Zupa's so good. That's the one with the kale and potatoes and sausage, right? If I remember correctly. All right. Got my shades down. Got my base coats down on my soldiers. I have baby back ribs in the oven. Yes. Oh, man. Get some of that with some of that old jasmine rice. A good Thai-style feast going down.
Man, I'm getting hungry.
I skipped dinner tonight, actually. Lily went out and grabbed dinner for everyone, but I shortly before the stream, around 5:30, I started feeling really nauseous and had some pressure right around my eyes. I have mashed potatoes, also good. Nice. I'm going to have a commissar and ogrins. Oh, yes. We got new date sheets for the ogrins, too. Let's talk about this heavy las cannon field ordnance battery. It's going to be heavy one, just one shot, of course, just like a las cannon usually is. Strength 14 for the heavy las cannon. They're unclear whether it's -3 or -4. Some of his sources said -3. Some of his sources said -4. So that one's a little unclear at this time. The damage is D6 plus 6, ignoring invul saves. Minimum, again, 7 dammies. So, yeah. Again, as a guard player, I'm hyped. Now, you're going to be able to take between 2 and 4 of these in a unit. So if you take, let's say you fill up your whole heavy support detachment, so 3 units of 4. That is going to be, I imagine it would be ridiculously expensive, but that would be 12 shots, ignoring invul saves, minimum 7 damage. I feel like as a guard player, I'm excited for that. I feel like in general, I don't know how good that is for the game. The fact it is in fact Italian for soup of zuppa toscano, just means Tuscan soup. Oh, cool. Sadly, I'm on the other side of the country, so I may take a while to get to you, freak. Man, I was just thinking that because I'm not feeling well tonight while Lily was out, I asked her to grab some ground pork, and I got some fresh garlic here and some basil. And so after the show, I'm probably going to make up some Thai jok, which is Thai rice porridge. And so yeah, that's good. I think that'll be, jok is always what I'm craving whenever I am feeling under the weather. And I think rice porridge is always the thing that makes me feel better when I'm sick. So I think that's going to be the perfect thing for my nausea right now. Tabletop Painter says it's not like they would nerf something a few days after they release it. That is true. Yeah, that's a very good point. So, yeah, you're right. 12 las cannons that are damage 7 minimum and ignoring invul saves is quite likely to get nerfed, especially since you can take 12 of them at a time. Mythos, the door will knock. Answer it soon. What? I'm going to freak out if the door actually gets a knock. But I think this is what he usually says about door knocking on my door and kicking me in the nads. Joke is always great with ground pork and garlic. That sounds amazing, Mythos. Thank you. It's something my mom's made for me since I was a kid, and it's always my go-to thing for making me feel better. I feel that way about yellow Gatorade. Just hits a button that makes me feel better, right? Your soup. Huh.
What does it mean by your soup? What does he mean?
He says I'm pulling in now, even though we just saw him in his room.
Is your soup code for something?
No, I think he's coming to get some of the soup. He says I'm sure it's good for the back.
Ah.
Yeah, man. You are welcome to it. In fact, I'd be down to drop some off for you tomorrow, except tomorrow is... Oh. Hey, babe, if you're listening to the show, could you invite the group to Arwen's dinner tomorrow, like she asked? Anyways, my daughter's having a dinner and a mall trip with her friends tomorrow for her birthday. He is a man on a mission for soup. Hey, when you're a man on a mission, do what you got to do. Let's see, what else can I do now? I guess I could go ahead and prime these missiles. Since I had to stop last time. All right, let's see. I've got some more information on these field batteries. Man, I've been so ADD'd, and I'm pretty sure I didn't take my focus attention today. I've been so not on top of these stats tonight.
Well, that's because we keep changing the subject.
We do. I've been so ADD about it. Let's see. Like I said just a minute ago, you'll get to take them in units of 2 to 4, which is why the box set comes with 2 of these field ordnance batteries. 70 points per model, regardless of loadout. So, I mean, shoot, 70 a pop is not bad, actually. When you consider that an infantry squad is 60, when you consider that a sentinel's 50, 70 is not bad at all. It has the platoon keyword, but not core, which allows orders. That's going to be real interesting. We haven't found out a lot on the platoon keyword yet, other than that it's going to be an upcoming mechanic. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. The guess so far is that they're going to have the artillery keyword or and not the infantry, but because it's got the platoon keyword, you will be able to give it some kind of orders. That's a squad of Ludas. Yeah, I think a squad of Ludas is a fair price. Maybe even undercosted. Actually, I think it's pretty much undercosted for something that can do, minimum 7 damage ignoring invuls. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty undercosted. The stat line for this is going to be movement 6. So I guess because it's on, trailer wheels, I guess these 3 guys are going to be able to push it around the battlefield. That's actually more of a movement than I would have assumed it to have, because 6 inches is what the guardsmen can move with no equipment, with just running with their backpack and their rifle. That means they can run just as fast pushing this giant cannon on wheels as they would with just a rifle. That's interesting. Weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 3 because it's just guardsmen, right? Toughness 4, 6 wounds, 3 attacks. It's got 3 guardsmen on it, so it makes sense. And leadership 6, save 4+. Toughness is okay, but not outstanding. But it makes sense to me because it's really just the guardsmen. Just like almost anything else that comes to like heavy weapon platforms or infantry, or even the mech guns. Mech guns, you actually have a higher toughness. But most things like this, you're just really counting for the people manning it. Eldar weapons platforms are the same way. So I gave you the heavy las cannon. The bombast field gun will be 48 inches. Heavy D6, strength 7, minus 2 AP, damage 2, ignores line of sight, and has the blast keyword. Huh. Interesting. That'll be some. So it's not going to be a basilisk, right? But still, strength 7, minus 2 AP, and 2 damage. That's going to be great. Artillery to keep out of line of sight. Say behind some ruins or something like that. See, again, I'm doing this off camera. And that could be something taken out, like heavy infantry or things that are like firepower on the back end of the table. if you've got some snipers, heavy weapons teams, if you got some eradicators on the back table, some hellblasters up in the corner, those things that are on your opponent's back line, dealing out some damage at range, that is a great weapon, I think, to keep tucked away, ready for them, So I think that's amazing. And then you don't even have to worry about the fact that it's toughness 4 because it's hiding behind ruins. And if you think about it, if you had a couple of these dotted along the back of your line, hidden in ruins or whatever, I am doing all of this off camera. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at painting on camera. I'll get used to it eventually. He said with 30 minutes left in the stream. But yeah, if you had a couple of these dotted along the back of your line, hidden in terrain and stuff like that, it could also help kind of screen out, to keep people from dropping in your back line. They've got a movement of 6, so I mean, that could also help you play around with holding objectives on your back line. Hey, you need them out of the ruins for a couple of turns of out of line of sight shooting, but the guys you had sitting on your back objectives died. You can move them up, which makes them a little more vulnerable, but you've had a couple of turns of indirect shooting and have them sit on that backfield objective now. I mean, that's some flexibility there. The little, what looks like Gatling rockets. It's called the Malice rocket launcher we know now. And it is a 48-inch heavy D6 plus 6 shots. That's a lot of shots. These things are going to be really solid firepower. Strength 6, only AP 1. So this is going to be about volume. Getting to put out 12 shots per rocket launcher here. Only damage 1, but it has the blast keyword. No apparent line of sight rules, despite the model appearance. Interesting. So that one just seems like, I mean, that's going to be something to take out hordes, I think. This is going to be really good against orcs, tyranids, big Eldar Guardian blobs. Because only damage 1 and 1 AP, but having the blast keyword and getting to, put out a potential 12 shots per unit or per model. Oh yeah, that's going to be.
Is blast the one where the damage spills over?
No, blast is if they have 6 or more models in the unit, and then you automatically, when you roll your number of shots, you automatically get 3 shots. And if they have 11 or more units, models in the unit, then you automatically get your full number of shots. So in this case, if it was a guard of 11 or more orcs, they would automatically get a full 12 shots.
Okay. Makes sense.
So yeah, some it seems like some pretty good stats there. Some follow-up to that. If all the leaks are accurate, of course. A lot of people have concerns about the durability if they're only toughness 4 at toughness 4 at 70 points. But I think these are not about durability. These are about glass cannons. Every one of those profiles can put out a bunch of damage. You've got your laser one just to hit the armor. You've got an anti-infantry one, and you've got an out. Oop! Oh, I'm so sorry. Slapping the camera like that, like it owes me money. Where's my money? And you've got your indirect fire options. All three of those seem like solid options. Honestly, I would probably take the missile, the anti-infantry one, less often, just because there's not a lot of things that we play against in our group that are like, that would be really affected by AP one damage, right? Against Space Marines, that's going to be AP nothing. Against Custodes, that's still going to be, a 3-up save. That really is best against me with orcs. So unless I'm playing against myself, that's probably not going to be the profile I use very often.
Or Atlas against his guard.
Yeah, actually, that would be good for big squads of guardsmen. You're right. And it would always be a minimum of 3 shots, so I'd never have to worry about rolling ones for number of shots. Madhouse difficulty might not be so bad. I got a circular saw weapon for completing my speed run, and it just deletes everything. Nice. That's awesome, brother. I would like to see some gameplay of you with your saw weapon. I can't wait to see some of that. Maybe do a little recording so I can see it, just because I want to see it. Some people are complaining that the Bombast field gun doesn't seem very strong on its own stats. I think for indirect fire, being able to shoot things that are like Gravis is great. And I mean, it's what, strength 7, I think? Yeah, strength 7 minus 3 AP. I think that's pretty decent for being to shoot at Custodes. At strength 7, I mean, even the bikes, aren't too difficult to wound. Could pick up take aim for the orders for you, so you could get the +1 to hit and AP -1. That's not bad. But a bit more niche for 140 points, 4 to 5 hits at strength 7. A Manticore would provide more hits. So yeah, I guess if you're taking 140 points is 2 of these things, and that's just about 10 points less than a Manticore. I can see what they're saying. As far as indirect fire goes, the 2 of these do not equate to a Basilisk or Manticore. So I can see if you're measuring up the efficiency versus what Guard already have in their toolkit. But I still think they're pretty cool. The heavy last cannon depends on the profile it winds up getting. What? Ignores invuls are scary and can't really be ignored, even if it's a chance to miss. With only being a 4+. The other one is a bit more tame, perhaps more effective against most infantry. I guess the last cannons might be most interesting from the leaks. Okay. So yeah, last cannon, heavy last cannon seems to be what people, the general consensus is most, what people will find most likely to take. But I don't know. I think it's a toss-up. I think I'd want a mix of the heavy last cannons and some of the Bombast field guns. That having something to shoot out of line of fire is pretty handy, I think, especially at strength 7. Plus, I already said that I'm not adding any basilisks to this army, so that doesn't mean I can't have mini basilisks, right? On the subject of the Manticore, though, they did talk about the Death Strike missile launcher, another unit that has been, like, in lore supposed to be really a badass. That looks badass. It's a giant rocket strapped to a tank with 4 smaller rockets strapped to it. It's a big ass rocket launcher. Like, it almost feels like when you fire this thing, it should have the nuclear missile launched, sound going. It's horrible in game currently. Horrible. So what happens is that you have to roll like a 7 or something to launch it. And it starts like on turn 1. Of course, you can't roll a 7. Turn 2, you have to roll a 6 to get to a 7. Turn 3, You got to roll a 5. So it's probably going to be turn 4 or 5 before this thing shoots, if ever. You can go full games with this thing never shooting. It's a horrible weapon. It looks cool as hell. The Death Strike missile launcher. Okay, so the new stats are it's going to be about 150 points, which I think is close to what it is now. Movement 10, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 4, strength 6, toughness 7, 11 wounds, leadership 7, 3+ save. The launch ability, as is currently understood by people, and this is leaks, so again, don't take it for gospel. The launch ability is called target alignment. In the command phase, action that completes at the end of the turn. You place so during the beginning of your turn, you put down a marker and say, "This is where I'm going to shoot my big ass Mitchell, big ass missile." You know,
Who's this Mitchell?
and why does he have such a big ass? And you know that's going to be like your. This is I like this because like thematically, it's like in the movies where you know you see the sir, they've launched a missile. It's coming right for us. You know, like this is a big ass missile going up into the air, and it's going so high up in the air that it's like they're getting time to see where it's coming down. You know, sir, they've launched a missile. This is where it's going. In your turn, you can either choose to launch or realign again if the opponent has moved too far away. Okay, so you put out a target marker, and it goes down at the end of your turn. Your turn comes back up, and you get to launch it or reset it again. That's kind of cool. It's like a guided missile. It's like, okay, they've moved. I'm going to start it over. Now we're going to put the marker here. Up, they've moved again. I'm going to put the marker here. But eventually, you got to decide, I'm going to detonate, right? But that's kind of cool, getting to decide that, okay, I'm going to detonate now. It's a great zoning mechanic. You know what zoning mechanic is in video games?
Tony?
Yeah. You ever play Overwatch?
I played a little bit.
You know who Diva is?
It's the one with the big mech?
Yeah, hot chick with the big mech. You know, her ultimate ability is she gets to jump out of her mech suit and hit the self-destruct, right?
Yeah.
And it creates a big explosion, and if anyone who's in line of sight gets automatically deleted. No taking damage, just dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it very seldom in competitive play ever hits anybody because, you know, she basically calls out nerf this, which is the self-destruct. And people see it coming and they dodge because it takes a minute to blow up. But what it does do is it keeps people off of the objective because they see that big mech about to explode, right?
Yeah.
So that's called zoning because you're keeping people off of the objective. You're zoning them out. That would be great for a mechanic like this. If you have some place on the board you really need your enemy to not be, you could just say, I'm putting this big ass missile token here. You can stay there if you want to. And you're either going to get kills or they're going to get out of the way. You guys know when you're like playing chicken in the parking lot with the guy coming the other way who wants the same parking spot as you, and you're both kind of racing for the parking spot, and both of you think that the other one's going to move, or else I'm going to get this spot. You guys are really playing chicken to see who gets the spot, right? That's what this is. They're either going to move or you're going to hit them. This is a cool as shit mechanic. I really liked it, and I like the fact that you can keep resetting it. You can guide the missile. On top of that, there are now, before it was just one big ass missile. Now you have 3 different choices of missiles you can take. Happens during muster army, so you can't just pick it during the game which one you want to use. You got to pick it when you're making your list. the God Spear missile, 1d6 for each unit within 3 inches of the center. Hits. And it deals 1d6 mortal wounds for each unit within 3 inches of the center of the blast. Okay. So if you hit 2 to 3 units, it's an average of 8 mortal wounds. 4 to 5 units, if you hit them, it's an average of 12 mortal wounds. 6 units or more, it's an average of 16 mortal wounds. It's pretty cool. Vortex, and the fact that they're mortal wounds is like, you're not worried about invuls, you're not worried about armor, you're not worried about contempt. You're not worried about none of that. They're just going to take damage. The Vortex missile. Instead of 3 inches, its range is D3 plus 3 inches. So minimum of 4 inches. So on average, 2 to 3 units, if you hit it, will take D3 mortal wounds. 4 to 5 units on average will take D3 plus 1 mortal wounds. And 6 or more units, if you hit them, will take 2d3 mortal wounds. After resolving, the marker remains on a 4+. Oh! The marker remains on a 4+. Interesting. Does that mean that there's... Huh?
That's a no.
Yeah. Hey, you might get hit again. You can go back to that place. You can go back there if you want to. Plasma barrage missile. The range is D3 plus 6 from the marker, so that's an even bigger area of effect. If you hit 2 to 3 units, they'll take D3 plus 1 mortal wounds. If you hit 4 to 5 units, it'll be 2d3 mortal wounds. And if you hit 6 units, it'll be... I don't know if it's... I might be reading this as... I think it's units. And if you hit 6 units, it'll be D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. -1 to roll for infantry characters, though. Interessante. Oh, I've been reading my notes wrong. I think you're rolling a D6 for each of those units. It's if you roll a 1 or 2, they take 8 mortal wounds. Okay. That's how, and it's not the number of units hit, so it's what you roll on the D6. If you roll a 6, you get D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. Whew. So that could turn out to be a hell of a lot of mortal wound output.
That's crazy.
150 points. Now, because it's not a guaranteed hit, it's mostly zoning, it makes them move. I don't see myself taking a bunch of these, but taking one sounds fun. So the moral of the story, guys, is when you're taking notes, make sure you can read your own shorthand. So again, I don't feel like that's overpowered because they have a whole turn to move. And if you look at it, everything is at the smallest a 3-inch explosion and at the largest a D3 plus 3 explosion or D3 plus 6 explosion. So almost every time they're going to have the ability to get out of the way. It's really about making them move. I find that pretty fascinating. That sounds like a fun mechanic. It, like I said, it doesn't seem overpowered. It just seems like a strategy thing. They're playing your game. Ogrins. I'm an ogre. Grab your torch and pitchforks. Ogrins are getting a massive durability boost. They're going to toughness 6. They're getting 2 extra wounds. So that means each Ogrin is getting 5 wounds. And just like a Dreadnought, they're getting -1 damage. It'll probably be a points increase, but I mean, if you're taking 3 of these guys, that's a minimum of 15 wounds with a -1 damage mechanic. I think they're going to be pretty solid for holding an objective. They're probably, again, like most guard, not really going to get much of an invul save. But I mean, you take them with the slab shield and get that, what is it, a 4 or 5+ invul? Stick them on an objective or send them into combat. Their combat is probably okay, but man, they'll probably be great at holding an objective. The Kazarkin from Kill Teams is getting, they're getting some stats. The Kazarkin are getting, they're very similar to the Scions right now. Hotshot las guns are now 24-inch range. Stat line is ballistic skill 3, strength, weapon skill 4. So these guys automatically hit on 3s, just like the old veterans. They save on a 4+, which is 4+ is good armor for guard. They might only be available in squads of 10. That is unconfirmed, but that's what some people are saying, is they might only be available to take as a 10-man squad. Special weapons, per 4, or 4 of them for every 10 guards you take. As previously expected, includes the volley guns. They can't have the same weapon more than twice, and that's like our earlier rumors confirmed. So you can take 2 plasmas, 2 meltas, but you can't do like the veterans before and just take a full plasma squad. Other options include a hot shot marksman rifle. And the marksman rifle is a thing, 1 of them per every 10. You can't take 2 of the hot shot marksman rifle, but it's a 36-inch range. Strength 4, 80 -2 though, and damage 3 marksman rifle. Mortal wounds on 6s, just like snipers. That actually isn't a pretty effective sniper rifle. That's pretty good. Meltomine is a demo charge thing. So if they take a charge, I'm not sure I'd pay, because usually if guard get charged, they're just screwed anyways. Atlas, my brother. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And they can the Kazarkin are getting a special ability where they can take an additional doctrine. So every army is going to be able to take 2 doctrines or 2 chapter tactics. And the Kazarkin are getting the ability to pick a 3rd one, which is pretty awesome. 5 minutes to go, so I'm just going to run through some of these pretty quick here. Infantry squads. So the standard infantry squad is 65 points. Gear is apparently, so it's going up by like 5 points. Not a big deal, because apparently the gear is still free, and you can take 1 heavy and 1 special weapon. So very much like now. Apparently the same for the rest. Likely the same for the rest. So we're going to talk about some special infantry here. Can field all infantry as your standard infantry squads if you desire. There are also 3 regiment-specific infantry squads that you can take. You can take your Cadian shock troops. They are also 65 points, but you can't take a heavy weapon. You get to take 2 special weapons. And you get extra hits on 6s at range. So if you take extra melta guns, you can doing that with extra, getting extra hits on 6s would be awesome. Catachan jungle fighters, 70 points. Their only thing is that they get to, much like Space Wolves or Orc Goths, they get extra 6s on hits in melee. Death Corps of Krieg, they get a mini transhuman. Wounds always fail on them if you roll a 1 or a 2. So even if you're shooting them with a strength 14 weapon, you still got to roll a 3+ to wound them. And they can take an upgrade, a medic upgrade for 5 points. There's no confirmation on this, but right now it's likely that some people think it'll be a ignore the first failed save, kind of like the Voton.
After your infantry squads, you've got command squads. Can be fielded as a platoon for 80 points or as company commanders as an HQ or elite's choice. They do have the key character keyword, so they can be screened. What's interesting is it sounds like the whole command squad will count as a character. But there's no confirmation on that yet. Medic gives the 5-up feel no pain aura. And gains the medic keyword. Now, it specifically mentions a medic keyword, so there may be a stratagem that goes with anything that has the medic keyword. A regimental standard is basically the banner or the flag guy. If you take him, you get a reroll 1s to wound aura. There's a Master of Vox. There's no rules leaked for him yet, though. Veteran guardsman options. So this was something Atlas was mentioning on the show last week. He was worried about veteran guardsmen not being an option. But veterans are still around, but they're only ballistic scale 4 now, but they do get 2 attacks. Now, if, like my brother Atlas, you are taking veterans for the 3-up ballistic skill, remember the Kazrakin are getting the 3-up invul. So if you want the 3-up ballistic skill. So if you want the 3-up ballistic skill, the Kazrakin are where you're going to be able to take that. I hope the Death Corps of Krieg medic is revive a model like, nope, you weren't shot. Same effect as passing a save, it still counts as a kill. Oh, that would be cool. Kind of like the Space Marines. Veteran guardsmen can swap lasguns or chain swords. Can still take a heavy veteran heavy weapon team, and can still take max special weapons, but can't take more than 1 of each. So that is a little bit of a nerf there. The veteran teams used to be, you could show up with 4 plasmas if you wanted to, 4 melts if you wanted to. The fact that you have to take 1 of each different one, that makes it less specialist. If you had a all plasma or melta, be like, hey, we're going to drive up in a Chimera and we're going to get up and we're going to be the anti-armor Chimera. You can't do that now, though. Regimental advisors cost around 15 points each. Master of Ordnance is 35 points upgrade. 1 unit within 30 inches visible. You grant them re-rolls of 1 for artillery across the board. So, hey, just being able to see, hey, I see that guy. Here are your coordinates. Your artillery all get a +1 to hit them. Or not +1, re-roll 1s. Officer of the Fleet, 30-point upgrade. 1 unit within 30 inches and visible grants re-roll hits for erotica. So if you have any planes flying around again, hey, here's these coordinates. I need you to go shoot that guy over there. Astropath, 40 points, can do a psychic action with Warp Charge 7 for 1 CP plus can do an extra psychic action for Warp Charge with Warp Charge 7 for 1 CP plus can cast to deny. No limited smite, no ignore cover buff. So you don't get the ignore cover buff anymore, but your smite is no longer a limited smite. The Ogren Bodyguard you can take for 55 points. It can tank damage for the unit, and you can take Nork as a special character for it for 75 points. Nork being the custom named character Ogren. Lastly, last thing I have for you guys is the new Lord Solar stats. It's supposed to be the new Supreme Commander for the Imperial Guard. Supposed to be a new cavalry model. There is a blurred, leaked picture of a character on a horse in a neighing stance, rearing stance. It's supposed to be like an officer on a horse. It's supposed to be movement 12 inches, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, 10 wounds, 2+ save, 4+ invul. Just like Morven Vol is supposed to half incoming damage. It is weird that they would give this character 10 wounds, though, because
9 is the threshold where you can no longer be sniped, right? 10 wounds, anybody can shoot at them, which is kind of Logan Grimnar's problem. The new Lord Solar can issue 3 orders, will have the Supreme Commander keyword. So just like Gilliman, just like Morven Vol, and its weapons are supposed to be the Lord Solar's Righteous Gaze and Conquest. So I'm guessing the Righteous Gaze is probably going to be a shooting weapon, and I'm guessing Conquest is going to be a melee weapon, like a Blade of Conquest, and it would probably match the works of a general on a rearing horse with a saber, you know. Now, one thing I wanted to put out there: a lot of people were upset that old Yarick was not in the new codex. The shooting attack being the Lord Solar's Righteous Gaze. Now, this is strictly just talking out of my ass here. What if Yarick is the new Lord Solar? What if he is on a horse and the Righteous Gaze is his Bale Eye, the one orcs talked about that could shoot lasers and smite people with his eye? Probably not. Again, it's probably not a thing, but I think that would be amazing. What if Conquest, instead of being a blade, was like his special power claw? I think that would be badass. I don't know who he's going to be. I think he's going to be badass either way. I would like to see Yark as the Lord Solar. But that's it. That is all of my leaks I have for tonight. I actually made it through pretty well. Onalicious, what'd you get through tonight, baby?
What did I get through tonight?
Yeah.
Finish the skin on that orc test model that I was doing.
Since you're trying to keep it all secret, I don't know if you want to hold it up to the camera
Nah.
there. What if I look away real quick so you could show the chat? I could just be like this.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to wait.
Mr. Fish says that would make sense since that basically stats him equal to Gaz. Yeah. Gaz being the Supreme Commander of the Orcs. Yark being the Supreme Commander for the Miltarm. And a lot of people thought it was weird that they gave Yark, his own story in the old Bale Eye story, and then got rid of him right away. Now that could be you building up Yarick to be the new Solar, like get people excited with old Bale Eye. Boom, new Yarick model as the Lord Solar. I think that'd be amazing. As for where I got tonight, I think actually it's almost ready for me to move on to highlights. It looks like that wash is dried. And yeah, I actually did a nice job popping out some depth and detail there.
Nice.
And the missiles all primed and ready to go. Animal print pants out of control. I did not put the black on the tips of the missiles because I'm trying to debate if I want to use like silver or red for the tips of my missiles.
Just the tip?
Yeah, just the tip. Everyone's favorite game. Okay, hear me out. I know in like all of the classic artwork, it's very common to see red tips as the tips for these missiles. However, what's the point of putting them in camouflage green if I'm going to make them highly visible with red-tipped missiles? If you guys saw a bunch of glowing red, cones going through the jungle, it's not going to be camouflaged anymore.
I mean,
Isn't
there could be, the highly touted red top trees.
That could be. It could be.
The very rare red top trees.
Very rare red top trees. I don't know. I've seen some people do it with like silver metallic tips missiles. I've seen some people do it with white tip missiles. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Oni? Or chat, if a chat has any suggestions. Camouflage and detail work do not play nice together. Purple camo and blue rockets. As tempting as that is, I already put down the green. And I'm not doing a camo pattern, just to be clear.
It's just I'm doing the olive drab style from like
So you want
early World Wars.
the missiles, the black part, you could do that the same color as the green, and then the warhead part of the missile, you could do that in black.
Okay.
Do a little bit of weathering on the black part where you're gonna do the green. Put like metal streaks to resemble scratches.
Scratches and scrapies.
Yep.
It's not a bad idea. All right, so that is where I got for tonight with the Mana Core. It's awesome because, tanks are so easy to paint, in my opinion. Just like I just did a little bit of work tonight, and I already look like I'm like mostly done with it. Like, some people would go ahead and put that on the table for their game.
You're like, and they're done.
And I've got 4 of my Meltagun guys base coated. Man, so the first guy, I just went ahead and did the base coats by brush. But since I had the airbrush out tonight, I just went ahead and airbrushed everybody's coat.
Nice.
So I think my special, I have 50 to 60 guardsmen as far as just like infantry squads go. And right now I'm thinking I want the special weapon for each of those units to be a Meltagun. Not as much range or versatility as putting a plasma gun in your guardsman unit, but I do like that once they wander into those 12 inches, it's just like, boom! AP -4, D6 damage. It's funny because like the tanks, they never got close enough to tanks in the one game I played versus Atlas with these guys.
Right.
However, what did happen is like when his infantry came up to my wall, it was just like one guy named Jeff took 6 damage from a Meltagun. Just wasn't there anymore.
Like, damn it, Jeff.
Any closing thoughts for you tonight, my brother?
I'm not looking forward to that to the guard army. Like playing against them.
There do seem to be some things that could be
so
maybe.
If I were to play your guard army, I'll just be bringing my leave.
That's fair. We'll be ignoring invols together.
It's like, oh, you're ignoring invols? All right. Have a taste of your own medicine.
You get no invol. Well, you get no invol. Nobody gets invol. All right, guys.
Yeah.
For myself, I'm super hyped for a lot of this. I agree. Actually, the whole there's a fair amount of ignoring invol in this, and again, as a card player, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But also as like a Space Wolves player who has a low model count and is relying on his storm shields and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like every new unit that comes out with the ability to ignore invul saves makes my Thunderwolf cavalry less and less survivable. So, anyways, I'm really hyped though. Like a lot of this stuff is super exciting, and I mean, last week we took a look at the new Rogel Dorn tank. This week we got to look at the new field batteries. We got to look at the new Lehman Russ profiles. I definitely want at least one Vanquisher. I don't know if I want more than that. I would like one Death Strike, because I've already like I already have got 2 of these guys. You know, the guys with the 4 missiles, right? So I'd like to go with these 2 guys. I would like one of the Death Strikes with just the one big missile. I think that'd be cool. And so, yeah, whereas, Atlas's thing is going to be, tends to be Basilisk. I think I'm going to be like missile focused with my guard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I definitely want some of those field batteries, and I want just to see how it all works out. I'm looking forward to taking these guys soon. I think it's time to start putting down, now that I have the heavy weapons dudes, I really feel like there's no reason for me not to start putting paint down, because I think the heavy weapons guys were like the last thing I was waiting on. And now that I know I can take them in my infantry squads, there's really no reason for me not to start putting some paint down on these guys. So I might do that soon. One thing I told you guys, my sergeants are all 3D printed resin, right? I had one of the resin swords snap off already. But I did get a bunch of bits from Atlas, so I'll probably just pin something else in place. Maybe something plastic, less likely to snap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about resin, they're brittle.
Yeah. They're great looking sculpts, all of them, but yeah, they're definitely just a little more fragile. It must be Italian. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you guys like tonight's episode, please make sure that you grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Drop us some comments down below, especially if you're watching from the archives. Feel free to be part of any of tonight's ridiculous conversations. And if you guys are not yet subscribed to any of our friends of the Frost and Fist, down in the description below in our link tree, and if you're not subscribed to me and this guy over here, then we'd love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist. So subscribe. And if you would, please make sure that you always stay frosty.